Thank you very much, Tamanna. Thank you very much to everyone coming along. So I'm going to start by building a little bit of context. The Rohingya people in Rakhine State, in Burma, have been subject to discrimination for a long time. Much of the problem spans from the fact that the Rohingya are not even recognized as an official ethnic group and are denied citizenship under Myanmar's 1982 citizenship law. They are effectively stateless. This means their right to study, work, travel, marry, practice religion and access health services are severely restricted. Despite the Rohingya inhabiting the Rakhine State for years, they are painted as foreigners, often called Bengalis to undermine the Rohingya identity. This, in addition to hatred stirred up by nationalist groups across Burma, has in many ways been used to justify and legitimize what is pretty clearly an ethnic cleansing taking place. Now I'm going to talk about some of the brutality that actually happens. They're very well documented pieces of evidence of what's been defined by a UN official as a textbook example of ethnic cleansing, and by many others as a genocide. A number of human rights groups and NGOs have this evidence in spite of media being denied access to the region. The brutality being undertaken by the military on civilians include death by knife, beating to death, killing of children, sexual violence, gang rape, burning down of entire villages, and more. I want to talk a little bit more about the political context, because this is often used to justify some of these actions. The military ran Burma for more than 50 years. That's longer than most regimes last. When international pressure finally forced the military to accept reforms, that reforms would need to happen, they did so slowly and at their own pace and on their own terms. This has led to almost a hybrid democracy system in Burma, where the military acts as a separate entity controlling the army, home affairs and border affairs ministries. They also have legal power to retake control. They set their own budget and can decide their own actions, including military offensives in ethnic states. So that brings up the question, why should we remove Suu Kyi's honorary presidency? Well, yes, she has constraints. Yes, she does not exercise effective control over armed forces, but she does have a number of practical and legal measures that she could use directly to restrain the atrocity, e.g. ordering a single bill in parliament to repeal repressive laws or releasing political prisoners. She has 80% of seats in parliament. Most importantly, one thing she has in abundance is the power to speak out. Suu Kyi has enjoyed so much moral authority in her campaign for justice, democracy, rights and freedom, and everyone would have believed that she would have been the first one to fight for persecuted minorities. Instead, Suu Kyi has not only remained silent on the issue, but has actually gone out of her way to support the military in many ways. She's chosen to feed into the hatred-filled rhetoric that the Rohingya are outsiders by advising the US not to refer to the Rohingya as Rohingya. Her government prevented aid agencies from distributing food, water and medicine to displaced people by violence. Her office has accused aid workers of helping terrorists. She has also joined the army in lying about what is happening in the Rakhine State by attempting to downplay the genocide. Her office even posted banners on her official Facebook page flashing fake rape at the claims. Suu Kyi has also fed into the disgraceful rhetoric that the Rohingya are a terrorist group and has attempted to confine the genocide through the lens of law and order. There is nothing constitutionally mandating her to support the military. She chooses to. There is nothing constitutionally preventing her from speaking up for the Rohingya. She chooses not to. LSE students once rewarded Suu Kyi for her courage and showed solidarity with her in her fight for democracy, rights and justice. As a result, students awarded her with the honorary presidency in 1991. Now I ask you to join me in symbolically stripping Suu Kyi of this honor. She no longer represents the causes she once fought for so valiantly. And I'll end with a quote once remarked by a great democracy campaigner. It is not power that corrupts, but fear. Fear of losing power corrupts those who wield it. Can you guess who said that? It was Suu Kyi. Thank you.
Everyone knows me. So my name is Hanan, a third-year undergraduate reading International Relations, and I am also an associate of ASEANite, an organization catering to the Southeast Asian causes. So today, the reason I'm opposing this motion is strictly because the nature of the campaign, which is underpinned by a lot of unresearched statements. So first, the problem with the campaign is it is built under the narrative that Aung San Suu Kyi is silent and not doing anything or not enough to face the situation. And I quote Mahali's statement in his release, her silence in the face of violence is not acceptable. He further claimed that the purpose of the motion is to act as a strong symbol in our opposition to her current position and inaction. This is a false narrative, everybody, because Aung San Suu Kyi has not been silent about this situation. She has repeatedly spoken about the situation. Her speech at the World Economic Forum, for example, and to many media outlets is an example of this. Additionally, Suki, in her statement for the CNN, claimed that she has repeatedly addressed the issue, but it is not what the media wants to hear. So what they essentially want is for Suki to pick one side over the other. But the situation in Rakhine State is not as simple and as the media portrays. It's more complex than that, which my partner Lsesu, who works for the KRA, a political risk consulting in Southeast Asia, will further explain. So the extremist groups such as the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army is partly responsible for the refugee crisis as a result of their constant force against and attacks that are targeted not only to the police force but also the Rakhine Hindu and Muslim Rohingya. With the rise of extremists, the power of the military, and Myanmar's insecure democracy, Suki has to be calculated when dealing with the military. So it's very shameful when the campaign was conducted in such a way. Shameful ideas, I dare say, not only because of the one-sided nature of the campaign, but because it violates LSE motto that is to know the causes of things. And with this spirit, I intend to enlighten everybody what actually happened in Myanmar. Because when I talked to Mahathir, he hasn't even heard of the Kofi Annan report and the UEHRD, which are the...
So my question is to your position. First of all, I'd like to say it's not a crisis of genocide. And secondly, I'd like to say, like, we as an SU or as a university believe, well, I hope the university believe in the sanctity of human life. How else do you suggest we tackle, we say something on what's happening in...
So I've never denied in any way that this crisis is not a genocide whatsoever, right? But I think the way we're tackling it as a student unit is the intention is right, but the path that we're going is wrong. So the energy and effort that Mahathir has put should be towards solving the problems and the solutions. So the Kofi Annan report is not just on economic and development aspect. So what the Kofi Annan report essentially
everybody should ask questions. We encourage it. Can we just get the opposer, second opposer, the proposer, and the seconder, please come up.
So, for the opposition, to clarify your position on facts, can I clarify exactly which types of facts you think are false, and which ones you think are true? Are they facts regarding whether or not the ethnic cleansings / genocide are actually occurring? Or are they facts regarding whether or not Suki is able to intervene? And in the latter case, if those are the facts that are apparently false, is that not in fact a question of different representations and interpretations of facts rather than fabricating up an event? Are you saying that that has happened with regards whether or not the genocides are actually taking place, the ethnic cleansings are taking place, or whether or not that's happening with regards whether Suki can actually intervene militarily? Or do you think it's more a question of interpreting facts?